Very well bowled today. It's not a lot of time has passed since Wednesday when I'm sure you had a game which you'd rather not have again. How do you change that so quickly? It's just the other day. It's just you're all in the same scenario and environment. How do you change it so quickly?
Yeah, obviously the first game didn't go according to plan by any stretch of imagination, but that's how T20 cricket is, and I think credit goes to the management as well as all the players around the group, because nobody even had a word with me, and that's the best way to deal with something like that. It's an anomaly, and on a field like Bristol, maybe it looks bigger on TV, but it's quite small. So yeah, these things happen. I think as a bowler, that's all that I keep in my mind. We're playing T20 cricket, we're playing against world-class players. So from time to time, things like that might happen. You obviously just learn from it. It's not something that you need to change majorly. Like you mentioned, it's just an odd performance here and there. So yeah, I didn't really give too much thought to it. I don't think there was much to think about, because a lot of that was not great, to be honest, but yeah, just focused on what I know I can do best from the next couple of games, and thankfully, we're back on track.
Thanks, Telford. Ken?
Thanks, Lucy. Very well bowled. You mentioned Bristol being very small, and Cardiff also had a couple of pretty short boundaries. Today, Southampton, a nice big field. How much confidence do you and the team take from what was really a brilliant all-round display today, looking at the World Cup, where the grounds are going to be similar to what you played on today, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been brilliant. Starting from the batsmen when we batted first, to the fielding, and then the bowlers as well. It wasn't only me today. When the guys bowled before me, they did a great job as well. So there's a nice thing building up with our team, and I think we've been on that journey since last year, since before the World Cup as well. So there's a good amount of confidence within the team. We know we have different match winners, and you can see throughout this series and the previous series as well, that there's different guys that win these Man of the Match awards and put in game-changing spells or innings with the bat, So I think that's a nice thing about our squad. We don't rely on one or two guys, and we know we have a certain game plan that we're trying to follow, and we don't really pay too much attention to how the other teams are playing. We play to our strengths and try and work on those.
Thanks, Ken. For those, then Nathan.
Shaba, sorry, can Shaba just answer about big fields? Is that what you're expecting in Australia?
Yeah, obviously as a bowler that really helps. Something like Bristol or Cardiff, at least Cardiff had one big side, so as a bowler you can come up with certain game plans to try and counter what the batsman might be trying to do. Australia obviously has bigger fields, and I think it brings the skill of the batsman versus the bowler more into play, versus when boundaries are so short. It's really one-sided, and it's about who can get hit for less rather than ball versus bat. So yeah, we're looking forward to it. Like I mentioned, our batsmen are really skillful. So for us, it's no issue if it's bigger boundaries and we're not hitting sixes. Our guys have different game plans. They can find the boundaries. They can run hard. So we're very confident with the way the fields are going to be in Australia and with the way our team is shaping up.
Thanks, Ken. For those.
Hi, Shama, well done. Shama, I heard you say on the presentation that your wife expected 4 wickets today, like it was going to the supermarket and maybe just picking them up there. And you've spoken before about, expectation on you to get wickets. Can you talk a little bit about what that's been like? Do you feel a bit of pressure? And also, what does it do to your confidence when you go through like a game where you don't get any wickets and then you go through two where you become the leading wicket taker in the series?
Yeah, I think what's important there is just to know what your management staff and your captain wants from you. Obviously, there was a whole big talk when Imi retired. He was a big weapon in our attack, and then I was expected to fill in his shoes. But I don't see things that way. I've been able to learn a lot about my bowling, and that I know that sometimes the captain might just want me to hold the game, so I'll try and hold the game. And in other instances, if the captain wants me to take wickets, I can try and take wickets. So I think the expectations, obviously, people have different perceptions, but I really go on what the captain wants from me on the day, and probably Quinny behind the stumps. You know, that's what I try and gauge things from, and try and do whatever the team needs on the day for us to win the game. Whereas, you know, for example, today the rate was already at like 11s or 9s or something like that when I came on to bowl. So for me, my first priority was just to keep that run rate going up, and that obviously brings a wicket. So yeah, for me, I don't see it as a disappointing game if I don't take wickets. I'm happy doing my role because I know as a bowling unit, we're all capable of taking wickets, and on the day we're all also capable of, you know, holding the game for the other bowlers to take the wickets.
Thanks for those. Sorry, Nathan, before we go to you, we'll just open up to the floor. Dean?
What about today? When you come up against a team like England at home with such strength in white ball cricket in particular, how much confidence, how much does that add to the success that you have against them?
Yeah, I think it's really important to have a strong heart when you play against a team like England, you know. And I mentioned pre-series as well. That sort of works out in my favour, the way I like to bowl. Obviously, you know, there's no guessing game. You know the guys are coming at you, so it almost, you know, it can help you come up with game plans better in a way. Obviously, it's a lot tougher because they're all capable of hitting sixes and you know, spoiling your day. But then again, it also gives you an opportunity to take wickets. So for me personally, I enjoy that kind of a challenge. And yeah, that actually brings the best out of me, I guess.
There's a lot of focus obviously on the T20 World Cup coming up in October. You beat England in the previous tournament, you're now just beating them at home. If you meet them in the World Cup, is that a good place to be functioning from, because it's likely to be a knockout game, they're not in your group. So if you do face them, you've got some confidence behind you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously, like you mentioned, a knockout game in the World Cup, you'd rather go into that game having beaten the opposition than being on the losing side. But having said that, you know, they're also an amazing team, just like we are. So on the day, anyone can win, but definitely it does, as a player and as a team, put you in a good space, you know, knowing that you've had the upper hand over the opposition, and I think they would respect you a little bit more as well.
Great, thanks. One more from the floor.
Very close to a hat-trick there. Tiny bit disappointing, obviously a amazing day, but tiny bit disappointing. You could have just get one more there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it happens to most bowlers. You know, they're bowling nicely, and then when the hat-trick ball comes, something goes wrong because you're so excited to get that hat-trick. Obviously, it's a very rare feat. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed with where I put that ball.
And then just finally from me, I mean, you mentioned about this England team. You know, obviously we've seen the last few years how sort of destructive and explosive they can be. When you guys saw that Aaron Morgan was retiring, walking away, did he give up on your camp a tiny bit of a boost, because you know how good a leader he's kind of been over the last 4 years for this group?
Yeah, obviously he's been a great leader for England, and you know they've won the World Cup under his leadership and the way they've changed their game around. But I think for us, that wasn't really a big focus, because we know whoever replaces him is also going to be a quality cricketer. So yeah, I think we just focused more on what we needed to do against this English team and formulate our game plans. I think that's what we chose to focus on more, and I think that's our blueprint as a team. We obviously analyze the opposition, but we try and see where we can upskill ourselves and how we can counteract their way of play.
Super. We're going to take the two last questions from online, that being Nathan, and then we're going to wrap up with Kaniso before we hand over to Dave Miller.
Thank you, Lucy. Shamo, as a collective bowling unit, how would you assess the T20 series on a performance basis? Any areas that worked for you guys, and any areas that collectively you guys will be looking to fix moving forward?
Look, overall, I think we're very, very pleased with the way our bowling unit's going, not just in this series, previous World Cup, leading up to the World Cup as well. I think we're in a very good space. Like I mentioned, you know, we have wicket takers throughout. Anybody can win the game for the team on the day. And yeah, I think if we have to look at the series as a whole, I'm very happy with the way we've performed. And the nice thing is the guys just put that in the bag and try and improve for the next series. And yeah, we have full confidence in our bowling unit, and I'm certainly very, very happy with where we're at.
Thanks, Nathan. And then lastly, Kaniso.
Good evening, Tabraiz. Congratulations on series result and your performance today. You're not a selector, but what kind of conundrum have you guys thrown up to selectors? The fact that there've been performances not just through the ICC but through the T20 series, as you rightly say, that the guys that put in performances that will now ask very pertinent questions of the selectors ahead of the World Cup?
Yeah, thank you very much. Obviously, we're very, very happy with the series win. And you know, luckily I'm not the selector. The captain will be up next, so you can ask that question to him. He's got a bit more headaches than I do. But you know, as a squad, that's what you want. You want guys performing, and I think healthy composition is always good in a squad. So yeah, I think that's where I want to leave this. David will be ready when he steps up for that.